You probably haven't heard of Amelia, and honestly, that's part of the magic. Because hidden in these hills of Umbria, way off the tourist path, is one of the oldest continuously inhabited towns in Italy. It's older than Rome. We're talking pre-Roman, pre-Etruscan, nearly 3,000 years of stacked history. This is not like a hilltop town with a nice piazza and a few churches. Amelia is full of stuff that sounds pretty much made up. First of all, the walls. These giant stone blocks stacked around the town, some of them date back to the 6th century before Christ. That's before the Roman Republic was even a thing. And the way they were built, no mortar, just massive carved stones, fit together like a puzzle. People still argue about how did they actually do it. Some say it was Etruscan engineers, others say early Umbrians. Either way, they've survived earthquakes, wars, and Allied bombs in World War II. Yep, bombs. More on that just in a second. Underneath the town, there's a whole other city. There's massive Roman cisterns, still intact, still functional, built over 2,000 years ago. They were designed to store rainwater, and they're still collecting rainwater, today. No modern tech, no pumps, just stone, slope, gravity, and Roman brainpower. During sieges, when invaders tried to starve Amelia out, these cisterns kept the town alive. They outlasted emperors. And now the weird part, during World War II, the Allies thought that the Nazis were actually hiding gold under the cathedral, and so they just decided to bomb it. It turns out that, yes, there was a treasure nearby. Nazi forces were actually stashing stolen goods in the tunnels around Amelia, but not really in the cathedral. Anyways, the town got caught in the middle. Some parts were destroyed, others, like those ancient cisterns, shrugged it off like nothing happened. And then there are stories no one can quite prove, but no one's willing to say are fake either, like the one about the disappearing Roman cavalry unit. They were stationed here during a siege. One night, they just simply vanished. Just gone. No bodies, no retreat, just gone. Locals say that on cold nights, you can still hear hoofbeats echoing near the city walls. Believe it or not, that's up to you. Originally, Amelia was called Ameria, with an R, named after the mythological king, King Amaroy. Never heard of him? I haven't also. Many haven't. But he supposedly founded the place 12 centuries before Christ. Not a typo, yeah? That's 1,200 before Christ. Now, whether or not that was real, we really don't know. That name stuck, and over the centuries, Amelia became a quiet powerhouse. Rome did not conquer it. At least it didn't try right away. They respected it. They allowed it to operate semi-independently. Why? Because Amelia had something rare. It had its own roads, its own trade routes, and its own influence. Rome actually built the Via Amerina, a road named after this place, to connect the capital to northern territories, like Ravenna. It became a lifeline during the wars between Byzantines and Goths. In fact, it was one of the only safe roads into Rome for a while. Amelia was literally holding the route open. Now let's talk about a few people from here who rewrote the rules. So first, we have Marietta di Ventura. She was a widow in the 13th century and basically a medieval diplomat, long before there was a job for women at all. She negotiated peace treaties, de-escalated wars, wrote legal documents on behalf of nobles and bishops. At a time when women couldn't even speak in court, she was running the negotiations. There's no statue of her, just a tomb in a quiet church, but historians call her one of the first female diplomats in Europe. You can find her tomb in the Church of San Francesco in the Old Town. Just go through the Porta Romana to the right, and you have San Francisco uphill. Another person, Sextus Rochus from Amelia. That name matters quite a bit, but why? Because he was accused of murdering his father, patricide, and was defended by a guy named Cicero. Yeah, that Cicero, the one you know. His first big case was defending an Amelian noble. That case made his career. And Rochus, he walked free. So, Cicero, this is where he started off his career. Crazy, right? This small town. You'd think a place with all this history would be swarming with tourists, right? No. You can see on this video there are no tourists at all. Most people fly past Amelia on the way to Rome or Perugia, Florence, Siena, and so on. And that's probably why it still feels untouched. Oh, and if you visit the archaeological museum here, you'll see one of the most incredible things in Umbria. A massive bronze statue of Germanicus, a Roman general. It's actually the biggest bronze statue that the Romans ever made, and it's stationed in this museum here in Amelia. It was found in pieces, buried under dirt for centuries, and yeah, like I said, it's the biggest bronze statue ever discovered in Italy, which makes it a very important thing to come visit in this town. Where was it found? It was simply found in a ditch on a farm just right outside Amelia. This town does not scream for attention at all. It doesn't try really to impress you. You can see there's a lot of places and a lot of districts and areas of this town that are run down. But if you do stop and you just listen, look around, you will start noticing details, whispers, things that are like very particular of this town and no other town has. Stone by stone, layer by layer, Amelia doesn't just show you the history. It dares you really to pay attention and look. Now, if you're wandering through Amelia and suddenly start noticing all these colorful flags hanging from the windows and balconies, like medieval banners, just casually flapping in the wind, you're not going crazy, or it's not a film. They're not filming like a TV series. And they're not decorations. They are symbols of contrades, the old districts of the town. Think of them like neighborhoods with ancient rivalries baked in. There are 5 contrades in Amelia. There are Posterola, Collis, Cruxburgis, Platea, and Vallis. Each one has its own color, its own coat of arms, its own street corners, and during festival season, Palio dei Colombi, its own competitive spirit. These contrades go head in head at the Giostra Cavalleresca. It's a traditional jousting style tournament that feels like something out of a Netflix series, practically, except that it's real, and it's been going on for centuries. And you practically have these horse riders that obviously ride a horse, and they have to spear this very small ring while they're running the horse. So it's pretty cool to watch. But the contrades aren't just a medieval game. It's not just medieval games. They're a big part of the daily life here. Every local belongs to one. It's like your blood type, depending on where you live, which district you're currently residing in. And it tells people where you're from, especially if you're a local, like if you are a real American, then it says much on where you're from and which family you belong. So it's practically nowadays, it's who you cheer for and who you don't cheer for. During celebrations, especially the Palio dei Colombi, the town really explodes into electric mix of flags, chants, costumes, and parades. It's really something. It's one of the few moments where Amelia stops being quiet and turns into this really roaring, colorful, competitive time machine. If you're walking through and see banners with birds, lions, towers, or crosses hanging above you, that's not just for show. That's real history. That's an identity, rivalry. So why do these contrades even exist in the first place? Well, back in medieval times, Amelia wasn't just a peaceful hill town like it is now. It was a fortress. The city was divided into districts or contrades, and each one had the job of defending its section of the walls. If invaders came, it wasn't just the town defending itself. It was you and your neighborhood upholding your gate, your tower, your streets. So these weren't just social divisions, they were military. Each contrade was like its own little army with pride, loyalty, and some serious medieval grit. And even though the battles are long gone, the spirit of that rivalry, it's still very much alive. If you're still with me, thanks really for hanging out. There is much more that I want to share about this town. I'll be doing more videos. This is where I come from, by the way. And if you're liking what you're watching, obviously feel free to subscribe. There's way more buried in this place, so if you come and visit, you will really love it. And if you do love hidden history, or forgotten legends, or just smart towns that quietly outlived empires and defeated also strategically through time, even the Roman Empire and other empires, you might want to keep Amelia on your radar. Alright, so thank you very much for sticking around. I hope this small tour guide entertained you and you had a good time. And I'm looking forward to having you on my next video. Hopefully something cool, like Amelia. Hard to beat Amelia, to be honest, but let's see. See you next time.